Kia ora koutou katoa, no mai hara mai ki UFC on Sky, ko Ravinder Hunia aho. New Zealand Flyweight Kai Kara-France will be headlining on June the 3rd at UFC Fight Night at the Apex when he faces Amir Albazi. And Kai joins us now in studio. Kia ora Kai, welcome to the show.
Kia ora, thanks for having me.
Look, thanks for coming in. It's been a pretty wild weather day outside, so I appreciate you still coming in. But look, just over 3 weeks, you'll be heading over to Las Vegas and fighting again. We're very excited to see you back in action.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome to be back. I think it's will be nearly a year since I stepped back in the UFC cage. So more than ready to get back in. I've been doing all these fight weeks, UFC in New York, UFC in Perth, doing the fight week, but not actually fighting. So now inspired, motivated by all my teammates going out and going into battle, and now it's my time to go back and do what we do best and remind everyone why we're the best in the world.
Absolutely. Look, while you have been off, as you say, the team's been doing pretty well on the world stage, of course, off the back of Ihor Potieриa's middleweight title win recently. How does that help, pick you up and motivate you, and now knowing that you're going to be fighting a 5-round fight yourself?
Yeah, like having teammates like Izzys is like a life hack. It just reminds you that what we're doing at our gym at City Kickboxing, the system that we have in place under the guidance of Eugene, it works. And like the self-belief that you have to have in yourself, Izzy just showed that. He showed that if you're, down 3-0 to a guy that has beaten you, he's like someone that's always coming back into your career and taking everything. Just goes to show that like it's all on you. You can change that, and yes, it's probably one of the biggest sporting events for our generation. Just seeing the build-up, how much was on the line, pretty much for Izzy, and to see him take Alex out like he did, like every living room was exactly like mine, just losing their minds, going crazy, and I love that. I love that you can change someone's mood by our performance. That's what I love about fighting. People remember where they were when you got that knockout or got that finish, and just putting a smile on everyone's face. So for Izzy to be able to go do that and then come home and I guess use that as momentum for your camp or whatever you're wanting to do, yeah, it's awesome. So definitely the cup's full, motivated, and ready to get back in there. It's a 5-round fight, so it's probably a good thing for me. It gives me a bit more time to do what we need to do to expose this next opponent, Amir Albazi. Tough opponent, good wrestler, got a good win streak, 5-0 in the UFC. So coming in with a bit of hype, but I'm number 3 in the world, and I just fought for a title. So I've got to fight these contenders coming through, and I welcome the challenge. I welcome these guys wanted to take my spot, and I remind them that there's levels to this, and you can try to get me down. You can tell people that you're going to just out-wrestle me, out-grapple me, or outwork me. People have tried that before, people that have the same resume, and they couldn't get the job done. So I'm more than ready. Obviously, I'm not looking past them, but I'm looking forward to just getting back in there and just feeling at home again. Yeah, it's a big build-up when you're coming back from injuries and life takes over, but now everything's kind of sorted itself out, and I'm feeling good, fit, strong, and just focused.
Yeah, nice. The Warriors are getting a dose of this now with you working in their camp, and we are seeing the results well and truly. And you know what, the great thing about that is, we were speaking off camera, it's whether they've been winning or losing those games, you can still see that effort, you can still see that hard work. And you said you have been off fighting for a bit, nursing that injury, but you have been busy with the Warriors. So how has that aspect been for you, and especially being a part of a different sport?
Yeah, it's been awesome being in a different code, not being a professional athlete in that space, but being a coach in that space, and just trying to add value anywhere we can. When I first met with Andrew Webster, the coach, we hit it off straight away, just talking about perspectives and I guess performing at the highest level and what it kind of takes, the pressure that you're under, all these combinations of things, the techniques. And he said, yep, let's do a trial run for pre-season. I'll bring you in twice a week. We'll bring you down to the gym at City Kickboxing as well, and we'll let the boys jump in with some of your teammates, as well as I'm mostly down at Mount Smart most weeks. But yeah, it's been awesome being in that space, just seeing how much goes into a rugby team behind the scenes. These guys are super athletes and so professional. From 6 a.m. they're there at the gym, no one's late, till 6 at night. They're all there after our wrestling session. They're into their weights and then field sessions, but they don't leave. They're all there, one group. So awesome that me and my teammate John Vaki have been invited and are now a part of the Warriors Waka, is what they call it, because the Waka is one team, one heartbeat, and all in sync. So you've all got a part to play. And for us, it's about progression, momentum, and that's the great thing about Andrew Webster. He's open-minded. And so what we've been teaching is the key theme for this year has been resilience. So not sabotaging when things aren't going well, when things aren't working out, not carrying it, let it go. First half is the first half, second half come in refreshed, come in ready to finish strong. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. So a lot of the techniques we're learning is how to be efficient, how to not just be use your muscle and brute strength, how to be calculated, use your speed, use your weight distribution, and then that's how you win games. Slow the ball down. So many different things I've had to kind of pick up on. My whole family's played rugby league, so something I've always watched and grew up supporting the Warriors. So when I told my old man that I was going to be the Warriors wrestling coach, it was like one of the proudest moments of his lives, because he knew he was going to get season pass tickets.
Shot dead.
Yeah, so he was over the moon. But no, it's awesome to kind of just be a small part of what they're doing. Obviously, ultimately on the field is what you're seeing is just a lot more refined team. They've got more direction of what they're trying to do, and the byproduct of what we're doing, wrestling, is fitness. You've got to be fit to do it. So you're seeing it as a weapon on the field when these teams are in the last 20 minutes. The Warriors, they're finishing strong. They're starting to break teams when they're starting to fade. So this season's been definitely a game changer for them. Seeing winning consecutively, and then seeing the players buy into that, wanting to do better, wanting to turn up more, wanting to do extras, and that's what's been awesome to see. But then also the last few weeks has been a bit rough. Injuries, things haven't gone our way on the field, but we don't get caught up into that. We just go again, and that's been a big thing as well. Not letting what's happened dictate where we're heading. So we've still got a long season ahead of us. Just take it game by game. And a big thing that I've taken away from the Warriors and then I've put into my own training is, I guess, not being outcome driven, but being process driven. Not looking about the bigger picture, not trying to win a premiership, just thinking about what we're trying to do today to be better for tomorrow. So same in fighting as well. You don't want to think about, okay, if I win this fight, I'll get a title fight. It's like, no, you got an opponent right in front of you. What do I have to do to beat this guy? Okay, I just need to keep turning up to training day by day. Eventually it's fight week, and that's how you can control your emotions, control, I guess, being more grounded, more present, and you're not trying to be, the best in the world. You're just trying to be best on that day. So, yeah, it's been awesome. Just cross-coding, seeing the collabs, bringing Eugene in, speaking in front of the boys, talking about winning. Winning is done in the gym, the small battles, when we're sparring for a fight or doing our grappling, those small little battles that we have, they might not seem like much, but you do that every day. Come fight week, you've got so much confidence because you've been doing all these little battles and competing. So when it's coming for fight day, you're like just ready to go because it's just momentum. So same for the boys. When we're training them, I get them doing about 20 to 30 minutes of drilling, high standards, so no shortcuts, good technique. And then the last 30 is about winning those small battles, competing. Even if you're in a bad position, we don't give up. That's the key thing. Don't give up position. Wrestling's all about who wants it more. So yeah, it's awesome to integrate stuff that we've learned and pass it on to them, and seeing them kind of just gravitate towards it. I guess for me, being in my career, it's a lot easier to kind of, I guess, listen to what I'm saying because it works. I'm not, talking about back in my day and all of that. So yeah, it's awesome to kind of just be a part of it.
Yeah. I think it's a genius decision for Andrew Webster to one, be welcoming of it, but to recognise that, the environment that you're coming from, is one of the most successful in New Zealand, one of the most successful that New Zealand have ever had in terms of, the title count and the title fight counts and, what you guys are actually doing on the world stage, and you're just bringing so much more than wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. So there's so many things you can, I guess, cross over. And, we want to help our own people, help New Zealand be the best in whatever they're doing. So, it's also an opportunity, life after fighting, something that I can just be a part of. One of the things that Andrew Webster said, he said, I want you for the next 10 years. I thought, let's just try win our first premiership first and see how the season goes.
There you go, that's your ticket to stay.
That's it.
When you go into environments like that, you have a group of guys and, some players, athletes will catch on to things a lot quicker than others. Are there some that you look at and go, mate, you should start coming train down at CKB because you see a bit of, potential in it?
Oh, for sure. There's a few guys that just naturally gravitate towards combat sports, like Aiden Blake. He's a super athlete. This guy didn't even do preseason because he was in the World Cup. So I'd been training the boys for about 2-3 months, and then he didn't do any of those trainings, and then came in and started throwing everyone around. I was like, where'd this guy come from? He's definitely done stuff before. And it's just awesome to see them pick it up so fast. These guys, like I said before, are like the elite athletes. What they do week in, week out, they're doing hundreds of car crashes every week and trying to recover, and I guess do it again in like 5-day turnarounds. Pretty amazing. So, we don't have fights every week. We have fights 2-3 times a year, if that. So we have months to kind of aid recovery and peak. These guys are constantly in this roller coaster of nursing injuries and not letting it, affect their performance, finding a way to kind of train around that, and then traveling every week. So much that goes into it. So full credit to what these guys have to do, rugby players in general, because it's definitely a tough sport, tough on the family, sacrificing all that time away. But I guess when they're doing it, you've got to think about the bigger picture. What is it doing? What's it going to set them up for? So, so many cool things that I can just sit back and just take notes and seeing how these guys are doing it, and what's it take to be a professional team. It's a team sport, but all these guys play a massive part. And just seeing the coaches, how welcoming they are. It's awesome that next to one of my idols, Stacey Jones, and he's part of the coaching staff, and so much respect for what these guys have done. And then when I look around the changing rooms and see all the big posters of past Warriors players that I've grew up watching, I always kind of like pinch myself and like, look at where my career's taken me. Now I'm a part of the Warriors coaching staff. I've never thought I'd be here now. So it's pretty cool that I'm in that space. Yeah.
Nice. And a lot of it, of course, is, reflection, and you'll be able to reflect on what you're bringing to the table and refining yourself just by, saying things and instructions to others. Talking about reflections, I said to you off camera also, congratulations on your documentary Cage that aired on TVNZ. Yep. Amazing. The one thing I found really interesting about that documentary was how you broke down your last fight against Brandon Moreno bit by bit. And of course, it wasn't a result that you would have wanted or liked. Yeah. But how did you feel reflecting, in that setting, talking about it again, rehashing it again, because usually after a fight you kind of perhaps pack it away and just try to do better next time. But this means that it rehashes. Yeah.
It's definitely, you just got to be brutally honest, and that's the only way you get better, is looking yourself in the mirror and say, okay, what can we do differently? But just taking full ownership of what's happened, not being delusional and say, there was all these different obstacles or lead up, it was the camp, and it's just the fight game. That's what happens. It's a game of inches where things could have been differently if my hand was different or if I had a different approach, but you don't hold on to that, you just let it go. And a big theme is we just go again. Definitely it was cool to document I guess that year and the build up and so much obstacles you've kind of have to navigate yourself through, and then life after that. What do you do? When went to Tahiti to do seminars over there. Big connection, being Māori and following our ancestors, I guess, journey and navigating all the way to Aotearoa, and then go down to our marae down in Napier, one of our maraes, and seeing all my whānau down there, and just seeing how much joy and how much aroha I get from doing what I'm doing, and how much of an impact it has on everyone down there. All my cousins and nieces and nephews, having my family involved in this doco, it's pretty daunting, having your wife talk about you, having your mum and dad who aren't together, having to talk about you, and just, I guess, opening up and being vulnerable on a platform. It is daunting, but just you have to, I guess, trust that what you're saying is going to come across authentic, as well as just let people in. That's the best way to kind of go about this, is not to shy away from what we're doing. And that's what was awesome about this, is breaking into a new audience that don't necessarily watch fighting. So a lot of people that have come up to me have been older, like grandparents and aunties and uncles, saying, I don't watch fighting, but I just watch your doco. I'm a fan now. I'm going to support your career. So it's funny when you go around and you see that, and that's the beauty thing about I guess having this on such a public and mainstream platform, is you get to kind of branch out, and now for my next fight they'll be jumping on board and saying, okay, I need to tune in for that next one. I want to follow the journey now. So yeah, awesome to kind of be able to, I guess, shed light on what we do for the mixed martial arts community in Aotearoa, and show what we're doing isn't just the fight. There's so much more that goes into this, and the lead up, the people realizing that I've got a family, I've got a son, I've got another one on the way, and how I balance that, how I guess the challenges that come with sacrificing family time for camps, and then traveling for fights, and then after a fight trying to give that time back, and making sure that you're giving energy to your priorities, rather than being selfish and all of that. So many things that people realize. And then another thing people took away was the weight cutting. People don't realize how drastic it is. And they're like, I didn't realize it's like a jockey, how much weight you got to cut and how restricting you have to be, and then the quick turnaround from a weigh-in to the fight. So yeah, it's cool to kind of shed light on all of these things.
In this fight, I'm actually really looking forward to it. I sometimes think, a long time layoff, people get worried about that. But when it comes to a person like you and the work ethic that you have, I'm actually really excited to see what you bring this time, especially off, the loss that you had last time. What did you take away after that interim title fight with Brandon Moreno? I
guess just experience. It was my first kind of headline 5-rounder. I guess a lot of pressure. Just having Izzy and Alex as champions from my gym, and me expected to be the next one, and just dealing with so many different not external pressures, but just pressure I put on myself, knowing that this is normal. This just reminds me that I'm ready, and just that being fighting guys that are at the highest level. Like Moreno, he's a dog. He's a guy he's going to die in there to win, and that's only going to push me to be better. So even though I've lost twice to him, I know I can get it back. I know I can beat this guy, and I'm not looking at that fight right now, but I know it's a fight that is in the future. And having Izzy gone and done what he's just done with Alex just lets me know, okay, it can be done.
Look, ahead of this weekend, Carlos Ulberg will be in action in Charlotte, light heavyweight division. How's he been going in camp, and what are you expecting to see from him in terms of his performance?
Yeah, so Carlos is another one of these freak athletes that he's like 1% body fat all year round, and he's a heavyweight. So it's pretty. He's looking the goods. He's looking like he's just got momentum. When I fought on the same card as Carlos in his UFC debut, he came in with so much hype and momentum, and it didn't work out. And I think it didn't take away his confidence, but it just realized that, okay, these guys are just as good as me. I've got to figure out a way to take them out, not just overwhelm them with my power. So now that you're seeing him more complete, now I'm starting to get finishes in the UFC, you're going to see just him feeling himself, feeling a lot more comfortable in there, not trying to just get in and out. It's like when you're there, you just soak it in. Don't force it. When you force things, that's when it usually doesn't happen. So you'll see that in the fight where he'll just start to, I guess, slow things down, go at his own pace, and that's when he does his best work. So I'm looking forward to seeing him back in there. Where's it, North Carolina? Mm-hmm. North Carolina, yeah. So new place. He's never been there before. It's always fun fighting in these smaller towns in America. You'll never probably go there if you weren't going to go fight. So it's a nice place to go to soak in a new audience and establish yourself, and hopefully he breaks into the top 15.
Yeah. Here is willing that he will. So all the very best for Carlos Ulberg, and of course for you, June 3rd, UFC Fight Night against Amir Albazi. All the very best.
Thank you, I appreciate it, and up the wires.
As mentioned, New Zealand light heavyweight Carlos Ulberg will be in action in North Carolina, Charlotte this weekend at UFC Fight Night, and he joins us now from Fight Week. Kia ora, Carlos, and welcome back to the show.
Kia ora. Thank you very much.
No worries at all. Now look, it's an interesting location, I thought. I never thought of North Carolina, Charlotte as a prime UFC location, but how have you been finding it being over there and, it being Fight Week?
Yeah, it's different to adjust to the time difference. It's so far out on the east side. So we're still trying to find our bearings now, trying to get the sleep back intact. I'm water loading now. I've got another 7 kgs to go. So it's pretty much a full-on fight week for me, doing all the media now. So everyone's kind of just arrived, all the UFC personnel have just arrived. Myself and Andre Pullet we've arrived a bit earlier just to try to get used to the time difference. Everyone's kind of popping in slowly now and getting ready for fight week.
Talk to us about that water loading. I find that very interesting, and you say you've got another 7 kgs to go. What is involved with water loading and why do you do it?
You've asked the wrong person.
You're just doing what you're told.
I'm just copying what the other boys do. Usually I don't normally do this. I don't normally need to because I think I cut less weight, or I tend to drop the weight a little easier than some of the other boys. But I think this time around, I think I just need to flush the water out a little bit, a little more. So right now I'm going to be having about 8 liters of water today, and then tomorrow I'll drop it to about 6 liters, and then going into just the day before weight cut, I won't be drinking any water at all, just so that I can have some sort of fluids flushing through my body at the time come weigh-in day. So it's this one is a different one for me because normally I'm quite comfortably sitting about 96 kgs. Right now I'm about 99, but it's all good. Just means I need to sweat out a bit more in the sauna and do what the other boys do. So
And then of course you've got the time to contend with as well. When I looked at the time that this card starts, 3:30 a.m. the prelims start in New Zealand. Does that affect you trying these preparations and weight and all of that as well?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I still need to do what I need to do, but it is quite in the back of my mind. I'm like, man, it'd be nice to have the whānau back home, be able to watch at a good time, a decent time. So yeah, given that, I think this fight alone is one of the more anticipated fights on the card, let alone just being on the prelim card. So for them to put it on the prelim card, it gets me there, but hopefully things might change up till then, and we get the chance to fight on that main card. But fingers crossed anyway. Right now we're just gonna do what we need to do and bite the bullet.
Absolutely, it would be great if you were to jump up to the main card. That card starts from 7 a.m. New Zealand time, so that would be awesome. So we'll keep tuned to the schedule just in case there is a change. And you mentioned that this fight is highly anticipated, and when I think about the last fight you had, UFC 281 in New York, you came off a great KO win. You're on the trot, 3 wins now. So talk to us about, maybe like the evolution of your fight game at the moment and what we can perhaps expect to see this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously the first fight didn't go to plan, but in the UFC debut. But I learned from that, and I guess continuing on with my fights, recent fights, I've kind of built off the momentum, and yeah, I've got more confidence now. And I guess you can just expect me. You can expect nothing but a fight. Expect the unexpected from me. I've learned so much from the game now. Expect mayhem, and expect that the best is yet to come.
Nice. Look, the last time that you fought, and I think I mentioned this to you in New York, it felt like you were a lot more methodical and a lot more patient when you were in that fight, although it felt like that knockout was, on for a little while, but you held your patience there. Is that something that you've continued to work on ahead of this fight, seeing as Ihor is quite a, sturdy opponent?
We'll both be figuring each other out for minutes, and once we see an opening, if we're patient enough, I guess my strategy is just to keep my distance and figure a little bit, make him miss, make him pay. That's the name of the game, I think.
Ihor just fought in January and got that win over Shogun Rua. What did you make of his performance, and why did this matchup, make sense for you?
Yeah, I think it's a great fight for him to come back from the last fight that he had, which was a loss, but then coming back to fight a legend in Shogun Rua and getting the win. So I think right now the UFC or the top guys up there are kind of lining us up to get us into that 15 bracket, or get into that circuit there. So within that circuit, and I think at this point I believe that I'm ready for it, but it's just I guess for me it's just I'd rather wait on that and see how things go first, and then get into that top 15 when I'm ready. In terms of the money, man. When they start paying me the big money, that's when I'll start fighting the big boys. So yeah.
So Carlos, of course, another big fight this weekend. Who can we expect to see in your corner alongside you this weekend?
You'll be expecting Andre Paulette and Eugene Berman, and who are going to be my orchestrators for the fight Saturday night. So confident and work on a lot of the strategies that we've been working on throughout the camp. And like I said before, just expect the unexpected. I might be able to throw anything in the works there. We've been working on our top and bottom games. So, I'll just flow and I'll see what happens. Choke happens, or then it happens.
No, really excited to see you in action, Carlos. It feels like it's been a little while, but actually hasn't really been when you think about it. But excited to see, and although you're going to be on super early, I'm sure all your New Zealand fans will be definitely tuning in.
Showed up.
The UFC returns to Charlotte with a stacked card. On the hunt for his 13th career knockout, Jairzinho Rozenstruik looks to turn back dangerous finisher Jailton Almeida, seeking his 14th consecutive stoppage victory. Plus, Anthony Smith takes on Johnny Walker. UFC Fight Night, Rozenstruik versus Almeida on ABC and ESPN+.